Have you ever wanted to be someone else? Someone thinner, smarter, younger, older, wealthier, more influential, or in my case, just taller. I'm 5'7". That's kind of short for a guy. I mean, truth be told, all jokes aside, in the most difficult times of my life, not only have I wanted to be someone else, truthfully, I wanted to be anyone else. But the problem is I deal with the same inspiration that all of you have grown up into. Posters at work, calendars, coffee table books, all constantly telling us, be true to yourself. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. But that advice doesn't work when you get to a point where you don't necessarily like who you are or what you do. Especially for me, I have habits I can't seem to break. Lies I tell far too often, most of them to myself. Clothes that don't fit or flatter me, and I fill my house with things that don't bring me any sense of joy and just an overwhelming feeling of clutter. I don't like me all the time. And as hard as it may be to believe, there have been situations where people didn't like me either. Crazy. I know. Talk to my exes. So I became obsessed with the idea of liking me. And unfortunately, that became an obsession with wanting to be liked by others, because sadly, as many of us do, the more we're liked by others, the more we start to like ourselves. And so I started doing what I call research, but research by what I really mean is I just kept watching movie after movie on Netflix, but this time studying, trying to figure out what is it that people almost unanimously really like. Turns out, superheroes. We're obsessed with superheroes. Even during a pandemic in theaters, there was a movie about a superhero and plenty more just waiting until the theaters fully open. We can't get enough of it. We as a society are so obsessed with the idea of someone flying in, because, by preference, they usually fly, with superhuman strength or agility or powers beyond our own. We are obsessed with the idea of being saved. And sadly, when our television, our tablets, our phones aren't filled with images of fake superheroes, what we see is real tragedy, real pain, and no one seems to be coming to save the day. But that's where my studies led me, this phenomenon of being a hero by being someone else. As a matter of fact, I guess that would be my name. I would just be someone else. Who was that? Oh, was it you? Was it you? No, it was someone else. See, we think that we don't really have a chance to do anything good, but there's a situation almost all of us have dealt with. Imagine the scenario. It's 8:45, you're in your car and you're on your way to your 9 to 5. Let's say pre-COVID, right? We still drive to work. So it's 8:45, you've got 15 minutes left to get somewhere you know is going to take you at least 17. And when you get there late, there is a very condescending email waiting for you, or worse, a look. Email is preferred for sure. But on this particular morning, unfortunately, the car in front of you, through no fault of their own, hits road debris and boom! Tire explodes. They're sent careening into the concrete barricade. Their car, the hood, smoke and fumes, and you're frozen and they're stuck and you freeze and you say, I should probably stop. I should probably call an ambulance. I should call the cops. I should at least slow down to see if they're okay. But then this other part of your brain comes in, the not so nice one, and you start to do some quick inventory. You say, you know what? I'm one of 7 other drivers. I'm sure someone else will call. I'm sure someone else will stop. Or you lie to yourself and you say, even though the person is so disoriented, I'm sure they're calling someone else to come help. Look, I have something I've got to do. I've got places I've got to be. I got to go. That's a phenomenon called the bystander effect. So the bystander effect is this psychological phenomenon wherein the more people that are around to see something horrible happen, the less likely anyone is to do something about it. Through the process of diffusion of responsibility, that part where you're in the car saying, I'm sure someone else, someone else, someone else. We're always waiting for someone else. And even in our own lives, we always want for someone else to make things better. We say to ourselves, if I was with someone else, I'd be loved, I'd be appreciated. If I worked for someone else, I'd be acknowledged and properly compensated. And then politically, every 2 years, 4 years, we say, well, now that someone else is in that seat and holds that title, they'll fix what's been broken. They'll right what's been wrong. We always want change to happen outside of us. But the only change that matters is the change that happens inside of us. So I use the analogy of the car wreck for 2 reasons. One, because everybody's seen an abandoned vehicle on the side of the road. And 2, it's the closest thing I could find to the right analogy for what we're all experiencing. COVID came like road debris. And through no fault of our own, we were just minding our business, going along our way. There we sit, except not in our vehicles, but in our homes. Disoriented, confused, scared, and for many people, alone. Lots of people drive alone, and lots of people live alone. And to save a life in the world we live in now, you don't need flight, you don't need strength. What you need is a cell phone and 5 minutes to call someone else. Because it is my personal belief that the reason why so many people have died in the hospital has very little to do with the strength of the virus and a lot to do with the fact that no one could visit them. We tried so hard to be 6 feet apart like this. We spent too much time doing it, and now we're 6 feet apart like this. They're buried 6 feet deep if they're lucky. And I will tell you something astonishing. I hate to be a downer. I hear I'm the last person tonight. But for every one person who's died from COVID, 3 people have killed themselves. Every 18 seconds, someone ends their own life. And they were sitting there, probably alone, if not literally alone, feeling alone, wanting someone else to let them know they mattered, wanting someone else to call besides a telemarketer, wanting someone else to see outside their window or hear someone else knocking on their door. To save a life, to be a hero, a real hero during real tragedy, you have everything you need. The world is waiting for someone else. And that someone else is you. Have you ever wanted to be someone else? Because the world desperately needs you to be someone else. Thank you.